What's up, guys? This is April with astrolada.com, and I'm doing your weekly horoscope / coffee talk. So I'm covering June 21st through 28th of 2019. I do Fridays. Well, I do Friday because it's Venus Day. It's still kind of Friday where I'm at. From one Friday to the next because it's Fridays ruled by Venus. So, and I'm ruled by Venus. I love Venus days. I'm totally in my element. And at my best usually on those days. So yeah, let's talk. Let's talk about the astrology of this week. Okay, so and also we give a celebrity astrology reading at the very end to let you know what how astrology works, pretty much, because celebrities, their lives are on display. We see what goes on in their lives, we see their personalities, and we can see how in their astrological chart that reflects what's going on or how they are or who they are, right? Hey, what's up, October born? Haven't seen you in a long time. Thanks for coming through. So yeah, we're gonna cover a celebrity chart. Actually, at a viewer request, I took a request from a viewer that messaged me and asked that. Actually, this is like the third person that asked me to look at Jeff Bezos' chart, the founder of Amazon. So we're gonna take a look at his chart and spill a little tea on him, okay? All right, guys. So, what's the energy in the air right now? Well, welcome to Cancer season. I mean, the sun is in Cancer, but we've already had Mercury and Mars in Cancer for a hot minute. Someone asked, what's with all the drama this week? Donnie, what drama do you mean? Now, I don't know what drama you're talking about, but Mercury and Mars together, first of all, it doesn't matter what sign that it's in. Mercury is communication, it's the hands, it's talking, and Mars is very aggressive. So when you combine the two together, what do you get? And then they're opposing Pluto. Pluto can be a very intense energy. So, what do you get? You get speech, communication, thoughts, paired with action, aggression, anger, and then opposing the planet that rules intensity. People are popping off lately. Yeah, that's why Mercury and Mars together makes people highly competitive, a little more antsy, a little more quick to speak, based on how they feel, and just pure emotion, because it's in the sign of Cancer, which is very emotional. So yeah, that's what's been going on this past week. But luckily, it's trickling off though. Okay, it's fading out some. There was an intense buildup and more towards like the middle of the week, to where it was like super But you know what I noticed about that energy though? I noticed for a lot of people, made them a lot more driven. Not so much like angry and about drama and yelling and fighting, but much more driven and super intensely into something or someone. I've noticed that. People were like having a lot of focus and tunnel vision and passion and towards like goals, or like I said, maybe like a certain person. They really wanted them. They were like trying to zone in on them really hardcore. So that's what that energy was doing too for some people. But yeah, for some, they were kind of popping off. They were like angry and stuff, and competitive and everything. You're wearing a moon shirt too, Beth. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm wearing a moon shirt. We're now entering the sun in Cancer, and Cancer is ruled by the moon. So yeah, the sun entered Cancer on the 21st, probably like super early in the morning where I'm at, which is in the US, on the west coast of the US. And the sun will be in Cancer until July 22nd. And I'll give a horoscope for all the signs to let you guys know how the sun in Cancer affects everybody. Because the sun, the sun illuminates. I mean, literally, when you look at it in the sky, like, what does it do? It illuminates our world. It gives us light, life, energy. You know what I mean? So think about where it transits in your natal chart, and that's exactly what it's going to be doing. It's like a big spotlight on that area of your life. It's illuminating things there. Yeah, the sun's energy is masculine. It is known as like one of the more positive or happier or benefic planets in astrology. But illumination of things can mean illumination of truth. You know, where that area of your chart is, wherever the sun transits, maybe it could have been dark and just kind of in the dark, you know, like literally like in your world, you weren't really paying too much attention to it. There wasn't much action there. You weren't really looking at things clearly. Then the sun steps in and it's like, whoa, now I really see what's going on here, good or bad, you know. But normally, generally speaking, the sun does bring like a very positive energy of a lot of light, and a lot of, you know, life to wherever it transits in your chart. So just keep that in mind. Isn't Neptune station? Yeah, Neptune actually, oh my gosh, I almost forgot about that because it's an outer planet that's so far away, and Neptune goes retrograde every year for several months. So, I mean, really, you know, yeah, it is going to go retrograde. It actually did go retrograde. Yeah, it did go retrograde already, like 21st. Yeah. So, yes, Neptune is retrograde, and that can mean, yeah, that can mean that the fog machine is turned off and we're starting to see things and people for who and what they really are. But you know, it's going to be retrograde until I think November, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like 5 months. So, and it's a slower moving planet. It's further away. So yes, it does affect us, but not like as strongly as a planet that's closer to the sun and to the earth, you know? So yeah, but you're right. It does. Is Uranus going retrograde? Someone asks that. Uranus goes retrograde. When does Uranus go retrograde? Not for a few months. Yeah. Uranus goes retrograde in August. So yeah, that's to answer that question. Okay. And what else? Yeah. So those are when those planets go retrograde. But yeah, the sun in Cancer, though, you know, that happens on the 21st. It's going to be there till July 22nd. The sun will eventually, which I will talk about like when that time comes, it'll eventually oppose Saturn and Pluto, just like Mercury and Mars have been doing. So it'll bring some more intensity, you know, but that's not until July. And it'll also make a good trine aspect to Neptune. So when that happens at the same, I think when Neptune is making that trine to the planets that are in Cancer, like right now it's Mercury and Mars, right? And I think if that Neptune trine wasn't there, it would be so much worse. The oppositions to Pluto and Saturn would be like so much like more intense and maybe bring more of like the negative, you know, effects of it. But Neptune softens things. So that's what's going to happen when the sun is in Cancer. It'll be opposing Saturn and Pluto, very harsh, raw, like planetary energy. And then it's going to be making a trine to Neptune, which is, hey guys, kumbaya, let's get along with everybody. We love everybody, right? So that's going to help that. But yeah, that's later on, like in July. But yeah, the sun just entered Cancer. So we've got now 3 planets in Cancer. And then also the North Node in Cancer. So lots of Cancerian energy in the air right now. Did anybody start crying today yet? Did anybody start catching all the feelings when the sun stepped into Cancer? I know I did. I woke up like totally in my feelings. OMG. Let me know if you guys were like that too. Yes, greetings everybody in the chat. So sun in Cancer in general, though, it is a time of year when a lot of people, they get together with family and they reminisce upon things, and you know, they just step into the realm of like who makes them feel the most comfortable and secure, you know what I'm saying? And Cancer energy is very personal. I think I explained this. This sounds like deja vu. Like I explained this when maybe one of the other planets went into Cancer, like Mars or Mercury, but the sun steps in. So once again, this energy is like amplified of people being more personal. Like during Cancer season, you want to make sure that you check up on people like in a real way. I mean, you call them, like actual phone call, or go to their house if they don't mind you going to their house and ask them how they're doing. Check on them, because yeah, people are really like deeper into their feelings with Cancerian energy in the air. It doesn't matter what sign you are. You can be you can be affected to some degree, but especially if you are like a water sign or a fire sign, because Cancer lands in the water houses for the fire signs, then you can definitely feel all the feels. Tamara says, I cried for 2 days. Yeah. Nope. But last week and the week before. Yeah. Yeah. People are like going to be really in their feelings and wanting that very personable attention from others. Like, for someone to ask, there was this meme I saw, I need to find it again, but it was like when it was like a cat that was crying, and it says, when they ask, what are you doing, instead of how are you doing? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally Cancerian. This is totally Cancer energy right here, because they get like that. Like Cancer energy is about concern for others and their well-being, like concern for whether or not they're hungry, they're thirsty, they're tired, they need something, and they're it's very concerned about others. So when someone who has like say a person has this energy, they get upset when someone doesn't return that to them. They want people to be very personal with them. So that's totally like Cancerian energy, that meme that I saw. Yeah, but just this energy being spread upon us with the sun, as a collective, we all will feel that to some degree. Like, does anybody really care about me, or are they just like on a superficial level talking to me, or do they just want to use me for what they think I can do for them? Like, people will be thinking about stuff like that a little bit more. Yeah, some people are talking about Cancer stuff. Yeah, crying all day, releasing with your crying. Yeah, to be a man in front of my kids and cry you did in public. Wow. Yeah, and you know what? Actually, this weekend, so that means the 22nd and 23rd, the moon will be in Pisces. And I think part of the 24th as well, depending upon where you live. The moon will be in Pisces, the sun will be in Cancer. Definitely a crybaby weekend because we've got double water going on here. There's nothing in Scorpio for it to be like a water trine. But yeah, Cancer and Pisces are like big time crybaby energies. So it's a good weekend to tap into those feels and those emotions and cry it out, and maybe write some letters or poetry or like posts that are just emotional, and get it all out, and listen to some music that'll get you in your emotions. It will make you dive deep. Yeah, the energy of this weekend. So yeah, the moon is in Pisces the 22nd, 23rd, and the 24th. Yeah, so it stays there. And then we've got the sun in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, Mars in Cancer. Lots of water energy in the air this weekend. It is a good time to tap into your emotions, but also water energy, tapping into your emotions, it does help with creativity. It helps you to be more creative, more intuitive, more empathic towards others, like picking up on their energies. So whether it's positive or negative is really up to you. Like, do you want to be feeling other people's feelings, or do you want to be team no feelings and be like, oh, I just wish I could turn it off and be numb and just feel nothing, So some people may be like, feelings, ooh, what are these? I'm allergic. But there's good things about it too, though, being very much more attentive to others and what they're doing, feeling, thinking, but like in a very sensitive way, like you're concerned, you want to make sure that they're all right. So yeah. Blah blah blah. Can't say. Yeah. Yeah. There, you find the Cancer energy very defensive and self-protection. Yeah, it can be. So a lot of people are like that, like protective over themselves and their emotions, and maybe like pinching back a little bit because they don't want to be hurt. Okay, Donnie says the solar eclipse in the year 2000 in July. Yeah, okay, so you're talking about the eclipses. I will get into the eclipses more than likely next week. I'll cover the eclipses because they're within that time frame. But you're absolutely right, Donnie. The eclipse cycle of 2019, for the most part, is a repeat of the year 2000, because eclipse cycles repeat themselves, but like every 19 years. And this one is almost exact, except there's a couple extra ones this year that there were not in 2000. So, but the Cancer Capricorn axis eclipses, yes, those are repeats from the year 2000. So if you can remember back, if you're old enough to have had like significant life experiences happen back in 2000 and remember them, you know, those areas of life can be repeatedly triggered again and activated. So, you know, just keep in mind what that is. Okay. All right. So yeah, but we'll talk about that more next week when we cover the eclipses. Okay. So yeah, we have the sun in Cancer, talked about that. On the 23rd, this is when Venus opposes Jupiter. And then the very next day, Venus squares Neptune. But pretty much those aspects are building up right now. I just give the dates of the exact, like to the degree aspects that are exact and at its strongest and at its peak. But yeah, it's building up right now though. What can this cause? Well, Venus, it rules love, of course. So lots of optimism, idealism, creativity. I've noticed that, yeah, creativity is on high with this energy, because those are two dreamer planets that, you know, you utilize their energies to really believe in things and see beyond. They're really good for seeing beyond like just the practical, mundane, everyday stuff. I have been involved in now I'm involved in like some heavy, like creative stuff, for like, you know, I'm not going to say everything that it is, but yeah, I have, you know, some creative friends and we've been collaborating on some like major projects for like a brand and stuff like that. And we've been doing that stuff the last couple of days, and this aspect has been building up, and it has like opened up our minds to more being a visionary. Like visionary energy is Neptune and Jupiter. Actually, I would say Neptune, Jupiter, and Uranus are very visionary outer planets. When you have aspects to them, either in your natal chart or by transit, it does bring out, like, opens your mind more to, like I said, beyond this practical physical world. So it can have all these crazy ideas come to you that are super creative, innovative, just like really dope. So Venus is opposing those, and Venus can rule creativity. So if you're a creative, yes, this energy is like so good for that. When it comes to love, you know, it's it's tricky with this energy. It can mean that you are really stepping out into fantasy land with someone or someone's, plural, especially because it's in Gemini. Okay, just being honest. And you are just wanting to escape reality with them, not really care about time. I've noticed that, like hanging out with people and stuff, you know, just not wanting to care about time, especially with the Neptune aspect. Neptune dissolves the boundaries of time, and says time is an illusion. That's very Neptunian. So yeah, when it comes to love, maybe spending time with someone and not really caring like how long you're hanging out or about any responsibilities, real world responsibilities. And just like idealizing someone, seeing them as like, oh, their dream person. This can be a little tricky and touchy if you are like single and actively dating, or you're just barely getting to know someone, because then once the fog clears, you know, you could be left with like some reality checks, unfortunately, that are kind of harsh sometimes. Or maybe it's just like something that you notice about the person after the fog clears that you just didn't notice before when we were having this transit. So yeah, that can go on. Now, when it comes to material goods and money, which Venus also rules, with all this mutable energy, mutable squares and oppositions, honestly, it's very challenging with money. It can cause some losses. It can cause losses either by gambling or believing too much in something, working out financially, and it doesn't, which is kind of a gamble, not literally like, you know, casino gambling, but a gamble in the mind, like, oh yeah, let me take this risk, this financial risk. I think it'll work out. And then you roll the dice, like metaphorically speaking, and it doesn't, you know, that's what can happen with this type of a Venus transit. Unfortunately, the mutable signs that are highlighted in the sky right now, Venus in Gemini, Neptune in Pisces, and Jupiter in Sag, when there's all three in the air and they're challenging each other. And Venus rules your material things. Unfortunately, that can lead to things like theft and deception when it comes to your material things. As a matter of fact, that aspect is building, like I mentioned earlier. And I'm a Scorpio rising, so they're affecting my money and personal belongings houses. And my car was broken into last night. I went out to my car early, in the daytime to run some errands, and noticed that it had been ransacked and there were some things stolen out of it. So unfortunately, with this energy comes trickery and thievery. I tell you guys all the time, watch your stuff during these these harsh mutable transits. I'm not trying to diss on the mutable signs and say that they're all thieves and tricksters, but it just brings that out of people to where they don't see the boundaries between themselves and other people, or themselves and other people's property. Okay. They just see that, oh, I want it, I'm just gonna get it. There's no boundary. I can just have it, So that's why I'm not. Some people, hey, with a lot of mutable energy, they can, if they are a lower vibrational, operating on the lower vibration of that energy, they can be like con artists and thieves and stuff too. So it just brings that out to where they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go out and get something. Haha, I'm a trick, I'm a deceive, I'm gonna, it's just like fun. Everything's like a game to those energies. So unfortunately, yeah, stuff like that happens. That's why I tell you guys all the time, like, just really take care of watch your stuff. Mine was broken into, unfortunately, so whatever. As long as, you know what, and I understand the transits, so that kind of helps. I'm like, oh, okay, mutable season. I mean, this is what happens, unfortunately. But yeah, Donnie says, I read a list of most serial killers have mutable planets and angles. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I mean, it's just the truth. Yes, they have a whole natal chart that can, I'm sure they're not serial killers only because of the mutable energy, but if they have that mutable energy and they're vibrating on the lower side of it, it can be trickster, tricky, let me see what I can get away with energy, unfortunately. But anyway, yes, Venus, lovely Venus is making these lovely aspects to these lovely other planets. But there is a downside. There's a downside to them. Like I said, beautiful for being a visionary, for being creative, for some escapism within love, into fantasy, and just like enjoying each other's company and not caring about anyone or anything else. But yeah, there's still some downsides to those. Okay, so then on the 26th, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Leo. So here's the thing with Mercury moving into Leo. It's only going to get up to 4 degrees of Leo, and then it's going to go back. So it's going to go retrograde in July, like the first week of July, which is coming up very, very soon. So Mercury and Leo, I'm not going to cover that for all the signs because of the retrograde, but it's going to go up to 4 degrees of Leo. And then it's going to go back, retrograde back into Cancer, back to like 23, about 24 degrees of Cancer. And then it's going to move forward again. So whatever is going on in the realm of Cancer, and I guess we could say Capricorn too. No, let's just say Cancer. Whatever's going on in the sign of Cancer in your chart, starting with the 20th, Thursday the 20th. What was going on that day? What were the conversations like? What was the energy like? What were some events that happened? If you can recall that and record that down, that area is going to have, Mercury is going to pass over that again. It's going to go retrograde, stop, station there, and then go direct. So when it passes that point a few times, and then also the full moon eclipse is going to be at 24 degrees of Capricorn, Cancer. So the eclipse is going, that's some clues into what the eclipse in July is going to highlight for you, the full moon one. But yeah, also Mercury is going to be like going back over something a couple of times. So whatever was going on that day on the 20th, just try to recall and remember, and that can be activated a few times in the next couple months or next like month or so. So, but Mercury goes into Leo for a little bit. It's in shadow period. Let me tell you, the shadow period is in full effect, you guys. There are some people that will say, oh, Mercury retrograde itself. Only the day of the retrograde is when things start to happen that are retrograde ruled, like mishaps with communication and technology, getting lost, and just, stuff like that. Whatever is the negatives, whatever are the negatives that Mercury retrograde can bring. No, the shadow period stuff begins. Trust me. How I always know the shadow period is active and on is when I'm typing, like texting on my phone, and everything it lags. My phone will lag and things will be so jumbled. And then the autocorrect will like put all this goofy stuff in my message that I didn't even remotely nearly like try to type, but it does like weird stuff every time Mercury's in shadow. That's what happens to me. So I'm like, okay, Mercury's in shadow right now. So yeah, stuff like that can go on. So just keep that in mind too. We're in the shadow period of Mercury, and then it goes retrograde on, what does it go retrograde? It goes retrograde actually on the 7th of July, and it'll be direct like July 31st. So pretty much the whole month of July, we have the retrograde of Mercury. And then even like 2 weeks after that, up until like the 15th, I'm gonna say like the 15th of August, we will still have Mercury in its shadow period, post retrograde shadow period. So yeah, just pay attention to things, extra attention to things while it's in shadow period now. And make sure that you write things down, and that, to avoid miscommunications, leave a paper trail or an electronic trail of communications and promises that people have made to you. That way, like when things start to pick up with the actual retrograde motion, you'll have some backup of what you said and what they said and what this and that. Also, yeah, vehicles and electronic failures can happen during the Mercury shadow period too. So make sure that you're, protecting everything, and, protecting like your devices, and making sure your vehicles are tuned up and all that good stuff. But yeah, and make sure that you're speaking clearly and communicating things like clearly. There will still be some mishaps at times, but that's just a part of it. I mean, nobody is exempt ever from Mercury retrograde. Okay, nobody. Everybody will have something happen that may throw you off a little bit and remind you, aha, see, you shoulda, coulda, woulda, you should have went over this, you should have done this. That's what the point of the retrograde cycles are. For all of us. So yeah, Mercury in Leo on the 26th, just there for a little bit though. And then it goes back into Cancer and then back into Leo again. It enters Leo again. Let's see, the 12th or 11th of August, it goes back into Leo. So whatever is going on at 4 degrees of Leo can be repeated again in August. Okay, so 4 degrees of Leo. That's going to be from 0 to 4 degrees of Leo. That's going to be like the 26th of June up until, it goes retrograde, which is like the 8th, 9th, 10th of July. So it's important to write those dates down, see what's going on, journal if you can in any type of way, and then be like, aha, then you'll understand the lessons of Mercury retrograde a little bit better. Okay, so now let's talk about the sun in Cancer. Let's do a horoscope for all the signs and let you guys know how the sun in Cancer affects you, what it's highlighting for you over the next month. So once again, the sun will be in Cancer through July 22nd of 2019. So what's being illuminated for you guys? Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat first, though. Okay. Let's see. You had to happen. Oh, hey, Lakeisha. Thanks for coming through. I haven't seen you in a minute. Um, Someone broke into your car and stole with the Scorpio full moon. Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that. The Scorpio full moon, that was back in, was that still in June? Or no, that was in May, the full moon in Scorpio. But maybe did that like aspect anyone's Neptune, or there was a Venus and Neptune opposite. No, Neptune's not in Scorpio. Never mind. Um, yeah, no, the full moon in Scorpio, that was the 18th. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. There could have been some stuff going on at that time. But yeah, so I'm sorry to hear that you got some stuff stolen. Yeah, it really sucks when people do that. Okay. All right, guys. So now let's talk about the sun in Cancer for all the signs, starting with Aries. So Aries, sun, moon, or rising. The sun in Cancer is going to affect your fourth house, which is the Cancer house. So it's home, family, your sense of comfort and security, your roots, your ancestry. So yeah, the sun there is going to really illuminate and highlight all of that stuff. You may be more of a homebody during that time, Aries. You may be wanting to just chill out at home, be more of a hermit, less of a socialite, maybe be less active. It can make you a little lazier when the sun is transiting your fourth house. Like you just really want to chill. You want to be in your comfy sweats or whatever that you wear to just chill out in, and you just want to be in that and just kind of hang out in your comfort zone, which could be your home. Paying more attention to your home, looking around your home. Is it comfortable? Is it secure? If not, then how can you get it that way? What can you do? What can you fix? What can you buy? So the sun will highlight that. And also, Cancer energy, the fourth house energy is about your family. So maybe you'll be craving more family time. And even if you don't have like blood family that you're used to, family can also mean other people that you're close to, like acquaintances, friends that you like consider like family. You'll want to spend more time with those people that really, really know you, right? The sun in the fourth house, maybe some Aries people will become more, and this transit happens once every year, so it's not like some huge rare phenomenon. This is every year. This is stuff that can repeat itself. But for Aries people, maybe you guys could be more interested in studying your ancestry and your roots, or maybe hanging out with family members that are elders that can tell you stories about your family history, or if you have like a certain country that you come from that has like a rich history, maybe you can study that, or once again, like speak to elders and listen to them. Okay, so yeah, that's what it is for Aries. So you guys will be maybe more sensitive and under the radar, just kind of hiding out for a little bit. Okay, so, oh, hi, Oche. Thanks for coming through. Oche's like one of my ride or dies here for like the last couple years. Okay, so yes, Aries, and that includes you too. So yeah, that's how the sun in Cancer affects Aries. You guys will be a lot more sensitive than usual, more in tune with your emotions, with your family. Some of you guys may have baby fever. If you like children or want children, you guys will probably be focusing more on that, like, oh, I want a baby. I've noticed that for some people, like when there's a Cancer transit, they're like, I have baby fever, especially if they're a Cancer or an Aries. It affects them in that way. Okay, so next up is Taurus. So if you're a Taurus rising, sun or moon, the sun in Cancer through July 22nd, it is activating your third house. Third house, communication, media, socializing with people in small groups, or going to those places where everybody knows your name, like Cheers, that song, and that bar that it was like a neighborhood bar. Everybody went to it. Everybody knew each other. So you want to like maybe frequent more of those places. You'll probably be talking a lot more, talking faster. I'm a Taurus sun, and I'm already like feeling that energy, especially when we already have Mercury and Mars together in Cancer, which is our third house for Tauruses. Our minds will be quicker. will have more mental agility, mental activity, but also restlessness. I've noticed that when the sun transits the third, people get bored easily. They become restless. They're just like, kind of all over the place, trying to multitask, do multiple things, juggle multiple things or multiple people for some of you guys. Just saying. Yeah. So sun in the third, it's good for media, like talking media, maybe some broadcasting, maybe some writing media too, like some blogging. You know what? I have a Taurus friend, and she actually just asked me if I want to start blogging for a certain website with her, of like a clothing brand and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, so we may start to do that during our season, which is of the third house, which is the sun in Cancer. But yeah, so third house is lots of mental activity. Like I said, be craving variety. So you'll want to do a variety of different things. You may not want to stay in the same spot if you go out or something. You'll want to like, okay, I was here for a little bit and I'm going to go over there. Mercury and Mars have been in Cancer for a minute. So Cancer season has already technically been in effect, right? And that's what I've been doing. If I do find the time to go out, which I've been trying to do, to like kind of lift my spirits a little bit. I have been going to like, I'll go here to one place and then to another place, like 3 different places within a night instead of just stay in one spot the whole time. You get bored easily when you have third house transits. It make you kind of Gemini-like, and Gemini is about variety and trying new and different things and being here and there and, all that stuff. So yeah, Tauruses will be feeling that with the sun in the third. But yeah, if you blog, vlog, any of that stuff to where you talk, if you do podcasts, you do radio, the sun in the third house is a good time to kind of activate all of that stuff too. Okay, so Gemini, if you're a Gemini sun, moon, or rising, the sun in Cancer is in your second house, which is your money. It's your earned income. So when you work at a job, your paycheck is the second house. Excuse me. So a lot of Geminis during Cancer season, you guys work more and you work harder, and you find yourself like, really focusing on your money. Especially when the sun is there, you'll be looking at things like how you're budgeting your money, what you're spending it on, what's wants versus needs, like what I really want versus what is something that I just, what do I need besides it's something that I just really want in my possession. But do I need it though? You ask yourself those questions when your second house is highlighted, which is a good thing. It can save you from making some crazy, purchases of crap you don't even need. Sun in the second house, yeah, it is work. A lot of you guys will be working overtime, working extra hours, maybe finding different ways to make money besides just your paycheck. But second house is definitely a focus on finances. Second house can also be your self-worth. So there could be a focus there, Gemini. But I think it's more like on the financial side. You guys are really focusing in on that. And yes, comfort. You like comfort and security also when the sun or anything transits your second house. You kind of just want to chill in your sweats, be a little lazy, watch some TV, So yeah, but all in all, sun in the second, really big focus on finances for Gemini. Okay, so for Cancer, if you're a Cancer rising sun or moon, the sun in Cancer, hello, it's your sign. So happy birthday to all Cancers in advance. It is your season. It's crab season. Okay, don't be too crabby though. But you guys should feel more alive and uplifted when the sun is in your sign. So yeah, the sun, like it gives life. It's a life force for the earth. So when it's in your sign, it really gives you more feelings of like living, like you're living life. And the spotlight is on you because the sun is in your sign as well, especially if it's your rising sign. Yeah, the spotlight is on you. Okay. So the sun in your sign is a time when you may focus more on your appearance, Cancer. You guys may want to change something or just go shopping, and focus on you and how you appear, how you look, maybe focus on stuff like working out. It'll be hard for you to hide away in your shell during Cancer season because there is a light on you. right? From other people's visions. But it can still get you more in your feelings though, because it's a sign of feelings and the sun is there and activating that part of you as a native Cancerian. So you guys can be more in your feelings during this time. But yeah, all in all, sun in the first house, hey, that's a time where you may be really focused on your appearance and looks and really make yourself look good and get some positive attention, hopefully, if that's what you so desire. Yeah, you can just feel like you're invincible. You can do anything that can help to boost you within career and work sometimes too. Okay, so if you're a Leo sun, rising, or moon, the Cancer sun through July 22nd will be in your second house, which I'm sorry, it's going to be in your 12th house. It'll be in your 12th house, Leo. So all the fire signs have the sun in Cancer falling into a water house. Water houses in your chart are emotional. So for Leo people, the sun lands in your 12th. The 12th house is about solitude. It's about solitude and going within and thinking about things and feeling things out before you come back up for air or come back out again. So a lot of Leos, maybe you guys won't be so much the party animals anymore for a little while the sun is there. Maybe you'll be wanting to just hide away and retreat. And if you do spend time with anybody, maybe it's like super low key, off the grid, off the radar type of stuff. Just chilling at home, maybe watching some movies or Netflix or something, just you and that person, and not really caring about time or the rest of the world, because the 12th house energy doesn't care about time either. But yeah, it can be a beautiful energy, the sun in the 12th house. But you know what? Honestly, a lot of times during this season, people get really emo. Like they are emotional over everything. And sometimes can jump to conclusions based on emotion because it's like pure emotional energy. I do have a Leo rising YouTuber that I follow, and actually sometimes we actually chat here and there. But yeah, she, as soon as the sun went into Cancer, I noticed she posted on her Twitter saying that she was kind of sad. But before that, in like the weeks prior, she was posting all these positivity stuff, all these quotes and motivational stuff. And then boom, the sun hits Cancer. I'm sad, you guys. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, Cancer season really hits Leos, all in the feels. Okay. So yeah, the 12th house is being highlighted with the sun in Cancer for you guys. And that can mean, yeah, you guys retreat away on your own, and then maybe sometimes you may want to bring somebody else in your shell, but you really like your solitude. Sun in the 12th, you can be much more intuitive and have like intuitive abilities to tap into other people, especially with how they're feeling. You can tap into it much more easier. Also, just the spirit realm in general, you can really be in contact and like, yeah, just really in tune with the spiritual side of life. So that's what it is for Leo. So for Virgo, if you're a Virgo sun, rising, or moon, the sun in Cancer is in your 11th house, which is your friends, your friendships, your groups, your networks of people that you associate yourself with. That's the 11th house. So for Virgo people, you're going to maybe put work to the side, maybe. Hopefully some of you guys will, because I have a lot of Virgo friends and I love you guys, but you guys do work a lot, which is great, but you'll like totally just shut out the rest of the world sometimes because you're like, I gotta work and I gotta get things done, and there's this never-ending to-do list and nothing ever fully gets done, but I'm gonna try to complete it anyway. You guys are totally like that. So maybe the sun in the 11th is like, have a little fun with your friends, Virgo. Okay, have a little fun with your friends. Get out, do some social stuff that does not have to do with work necessarily, and just kick it with some really cool people, your fellow aliens, people that are like you. They have common interests, they have some common interests that you have. Like you guys have things in common with each other, and you guys both may like represent the same things, same causes, maybe if you have like a network, a group, a crew, that's all the 11th house. So Virgos will want to like just step it up with connecting with those people and hanging out with them during the Sun in Cancer time. But also Virgo, you can shine on your own as an individual who's very unique. When the Sun's in your 11th house, you don't want other people to copy your style or any of your swag at all. Like, you want it all to yourself. You want to be unique. And then when you see other people trying to copy you, it's like, oh, really? I noticed that with 11th housers. They're totally like that. But also the 11th house is connecting to people worldwide through the internet, through the internet, through social media, through devices. So when the Sun's in the 11th, sometimes people do things like they work on their websites, they improve their websites, they just do they become technology nerds. And Virgos, you know what I'm talking about with that. Usually you guys are kind of, really into data and the mechanics of things and the processes of how things work. So yeah, the 11th house can rule some of that stuff. So yeah, it could be good times, Virgo, good times, Sun in the 11th. Get out with your friends and don't work so hard, okay? For Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, the Sun in Cancer is in your 10th house. This is your career. This is your public image, your social status. That's all the 10th house. So you guys may be very focused on that, Libra. Very focused on your career. When the Sun is up there during that time, you could become, it's a house of authority. And authority figures, you can become a lot more bossy than usual. Usually Libras are so laid back and easygoing. They don't like to yell at people. They don't like to be aggressive. But with the Sun in your 10th house, Libra, you may feel a little bit more like you have a sense of authority over others and feel a little more bossy. Okay. Just try not to let it get to your head. Just try not to let it get to your head, though, to where you're like overly bossy. But yeah, being in charge, and the spotlight is on you up here in this 10th house. So that means if you're trying to make any major career moves, Libra, which a lot of you guys are because of the eclipses, because there will be an eclipse up here in the sign of Cancer. So some of you guys are like trying to plan out and strategize, something with your career to change like big time. So the Sun entering Cancer does definitely like start that up and help it out. Sun in the 10th for Libra people, yeah, you'll be more authoritative. Maybe there could be some themes of like your parental figures or elders that come to light and come into play in your lives. Sun in the 10th house, if you are a Libra and you're on social media, you're an influencer, for example, and you want to be seen more during a certain time by the public, when the Sun's in your 10th house, that's one of those times. Okay. So that's what it is for Libra. So for Scorpio rising Sun or Moon, the Sun in Cancer until July 22nd is in your 9th house. So this is time for you to travel as a Scorpio. Time for you to get out of your hermit shell, get out of the house, get out of your state, city, whatever, and travel physically, get out there and travel, like exploring the world and stuff, or maybe just travel through the mind by like reading a lot of information and data and stuff that is inspiring to you, because the 9th house, it is inspiration in a lot of ways. It rules people being like cheerleaders for each other. Like, oh my gosh, you're so great. Oh, you're so great too. Hey, everything is positive and awesome. Like, that's kind of what your attitude will be more like. And I actually, like, as a Scorpio rising myself, I'll tell you one thing. The shift is always like much needed, because the Sun in the 8th house is a darker, brooding period of time, Maybe you don't trust everybody and their motives. And then once the Sun moves into Cancer, there's your 9th house, which is more happy-go-lucky, likes to party, likes to go out and do a variety of different things, likes to explore the world. Like, 9th house energy makes you see yourself from a perspective of, you know what, I'm a citizen of planet Earth. I'm not just a citizen of where I grew up. So you need to check out, other places and explore and be open-minded to that. As a Scorpio myself, am I traveling while the Sun is in Cancer? I might be. I really hope to, but Mercury is also retrograde in Cancer, in that 9th house. And traveling during Mercury retrograde can be very risky. And I'm not saying to not do it at all, Scorpio, but it's just there's more of a risk of like things going wrong, or you do an itinerary and it's like you don't even get to stick to it. But the sun in the ninth could be about learning. It could be about training, even for a job. And it could be about, yes, vacationing, getting the heck out there into the world and seeing what it's all about. And also, it could be about like connecting to different cultures, even just like cultural foods. If you just want to chill out, during this time, like maybe you'll want to try out some different cultural foods, or, it's about like what's foreign to you as well. So that's what it is for Scorpio. Now on to Sagittarius. If you're a Sagittarius rising, sun or moon, the sun in Cancer is in your 8th house. So Sagittarians, you guys may feel a little more emotional, okay, during the sun's transit there. What the 8th house can highlight as well, though, is joint finances. So it's not always like dark taboo stuff in the 8th house. Joint finances can even mean if you are a roommate with like a friend and you guys share, a resource together, which is the roof over your head by paying for it. That could be the 8th house. So you guys are focused on stuff like that. But also the 8th house can mean something that you create to make residual income off of. So yeah, some of you Sagittarians may be focused on that. 8th house does deal with transformation and, stuff like that. But the sun transiting there is just going to illuminate that 8th house. The 8th house rules intimacy. So what you want out of an intimate partner will come to light more. Are you more of a, deep person that wants a deep connection with someone, or are you superficial? You'll be wanting the deep connections with people when the sun's in your 8th. You'll want to have crazy conversations with them about things that make your mind just go like dive deep. You'll really want real intimacy when the sun is in your 8th house. So yeah, that's what it is for Sagittarians. There could be something financial that's going on. That can also mean clearing your own debts, though. The sun in the 8th, like clearing your own debts that you owe to bill collectors. So you could be seeing that stuff a lot more clearly. Okay, so next up is Capricorn. If you're a Cappy rising, sun or moon, the sun in Cancer is in your 7th house. So it's all about relationships. All about relationships for Cappies, because this is your 7th house. This is opposite of you. So opposite of you is others, right? So yeah, the sun there is definitely going to highlight relationships and what you want out of them. For Capricorn, it could bring some newness to relationships. Like maybe you, during this period of time, decide to get married or decide to get engaged, or maybe you decide to divorce or break up, unfortunately. But hey, stuff highlighting your 7th house, you see the good and the bad of a relationship, and it's up to you what you do to make it right if you don't feel like it's right. Yeah, but the sun in the 7th house, you will be craving partnership, though, Capricorn. If it's like business partnership, you'll be thinking about it a lot. Like, oh, I wish I had somebody to bounce ideas off of. Like you'll want that partnership of the 7th house. For people who are dating or they're single or whatever, yeah, you'll just, oh, I wish I had a boo to cuddle with. Yeah, that's totally that energy too. Or if you are in a relationship, it can really highlight like family life and serious real life, emotional, real world stuff. You know what I mean? The sun being there. Okay, so hold on. Yeah, that's for oh yeah, I was on Capricorn, right? Capricorn, yes, it's all about relationships for you guys. All about relationships. What you want out of them, partnering up with somebody, just being in other people's company, having their attention. Okay, so yeah, next up is Aquarius. So if you're an Aquarius rising, sun or moon, the sun in Cancer is in your 6th house for a whole month. So Aquarians, time to work hard. Hey man, time to go to work. You'll be super duper busy at work, Aquarius, probably in higher demand. People noticing you at work. Oh, Aquarius, there you are. Here, let me hand you this stack of work. You're walking to your desk. Here, hey Aquarius, I know that you're a hard worker. Here, let me add some more on to what you have to do. And it seems like you're going to be in a hamster wheel of never-ending work and assignments and, tasks and responsibilities and duties. That's all sixth house stuff. So you'll be super busy, such a busybody, Aquarius. But yeah, you'll be focusing on work, on your job. Is your job satisfactory? Is it something that you really want to be doing? Like I said, the sun illuminates things, illuminates those areas of life, and how you view them, good or bad. That's really up to you and your free will in your life, But yeah, generally speaking, sun in the sixth, it is a time to really work hard. You'll be just wanting to, yeah, like I said earlier, be in a hamster wheel. I call the sixth house the hamster wheel. It's hard to get off because you're in such a routine every single day. That's what the sixth house rules too, routines and stuff. So speaking of that, no matter if you are an employed Aquarius, if you're an employed Aquarius or not, your routines and your schedules will be coming to light. Like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis with your time? So yeah, that can mean, what tasks you complete, what time you get things done, your schedule, like what time do you come home, what time do you leave, like all that stuff could be highlighted. Now, the sixth house is also health. So Aquarius is, you guys be focusing more on your health during the sun in Cancer time. Yeah, just more of a focus there, more of a focus. Okay, so last but not least is Pisces. The sun in Cancer is your fifth house. Hey, what up? So yeah, I'm a Pisces moon, so I'm like, oh yes, my element. This is fellow water sign Pisces. It's fellow water sign, the sign of Cancer. So our water energy will be activated. So yes, this can mean it can mean some sensitive stuff. We'll be a little bit more sensitive. But Pisces, the fifth house is fun. It's fiery, fun, exciting fun, getting out, doing things that make you laugh and smile so much, with people that make you laugh and smile so much. And that can be dating. Yes, the fifth house. That's why we call it the house of dating. Whoever makes your heart flutter, like whoever makes you feel like you have butterflies in your tummy, like that's all fifth house stuff. Seeing like bright lights and how that makes you feel, that's fifth house stuff. So whoever or whatever gives you that feeling, Pisces, do it. Fifth house is creativity. Your creativity is going to be just off the chain when the sun is in Cancer. You guys already probably are being super duper uberly creative with Mercury and Mars already there. Then the sun enters and it's like bing, more of that energy. Fifth house is also children, so you may be focusing on your children a lot more if you have children. If you don't have them, maybe you'll be focusing on how to have them one way or another, right? So yeah, the fifth house though, it's like creative, it's romantic, it's beautiful energy. So the sun will be there for a whole month, Pisces. So yeah, even if you're not having anything to do with dating, it's just your creativity, which Pisces is one of the number one signs that is creative and loves to just dive into their creative stuff and stay there. The fifth house, the sun transiting your fifth will help with that. But also, yeah, whether or not you want to be actively dating, you will get attention when your fifth house is activated. So whether or not you take action against that, that's up to you. But the spotlight is on you in a fifth house way. So people are like, hey, what's good, Pisces? You want to go out? Hopefully for some of you guys it is. And me too. I'm right there with you guys as a Pisces moon. But yeah, just on your own, you could be focusing on some individual creative projects and, just living life, doing whatever makes you feel excited about life. Okay, guys, so that's it for the horoscope for this week. Woo, that was like an hour of just the horoscope. But yeah, if you're gonna tune out because you don't really care about celebrities and looking at a celebrity chart, peace out, and I still love you. And I'll see you next time I'm on. And also don't forget to hit me up for a reading if you would like a reading. I do offer those on astrolada.com still. So the link is going to be in the description box to do that if you want me to look deeply into anything in your astrological chart. But yes, let's get into the coffee talk and then we'll sign off. Okay, so Jeff Bezos. I keep wanting to say Bezos because that's like the that's like the Spanish word for kisses. Bezos though, but his is Bezos because his mother apparently, like his stepfather is Cuban, and I think it was Cuban, and that's was his last name. So he pretty much adopted him, and that's how he got that last name. But anyway, yes, founder of Amazon.com. Huge company, right? They've blown up and taken off, and now he's a billionaire. So he founded Amazon.com. And also there's something that he's working on called Blue Origin. I think it's something to do with space. Like I read that he's a big space nerd and science. He's really into science and space. So we'll see why in his chart. But anyway, he was in some controversy this year because he got a divorce from his wife of 25 years. And we'll take a look at that in his chart and see why, like what's going on. But yeah, so that's who Jeff Bezos is. I'll screen share and show you guys his chart and we'll discuss so I can let you guys know what I see here. Okay, so his chart. Okay, so a lot of you guys know if you've watched me for a while that I tend to use astrotheme.com because it's just the quickest for celebrity charts to pull up. But sometimes their birth times are a little janky. We got to verify them and stuff. And this one, actually, they did state that the data is not reliable as far as the birth time. But it looks like his birth time was rectified by an astrologer. And, we don't want to discredit the source. We don't want to discredit that astrologer. But a lot of times when the birth time is like, oh, it's not confirmed or this or that, I'm like really I feel like it's sketchy. Like I don't really want to use the ascendant that they provided if it's not 100% sure. You know what I mean? But anyway, they have him as an Aries rising. I mean, we can look through and see if that actually works out. Okay, so first of all, I noticed that he has a stellium of planets in Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of big business, corporations. Okay, so what did he create? A big business and a corporation. Totally Capricorn right off the bat, just classic Capricorn stuff. Being a businessman, being a business owner, and that Capricorn energy is super, super strong. He has Mars at 29 degrees of Cap, Sun 21. Yeah, Mercury. He may actually be a Capricorn moon. If this rectified birth time is not correct, he could be a Capricorn moon and really have a lot of stuff in that sign. So he was pretty much destined to be a businessman with all this Capricorn stuff, and it could possibly be in the 10th house of career up here in this chart. One thing I will note as well, is all the Capricorn energy in his chart. And this chart does not show the south node for some reason, but he does have, if this is his correct birth time, his north node is on his 4th house and the south node is on his 10th house cusp, like to the degree. Well, what would that mean? Well, the 4th house is like, if you have the north node, that's your soul's destiny, like direction your soul is supposed to go in this lifetime. And it's more towards the Cancerian side, like being in tune with your emotions and having a family, being a family-minded person. Because the south node in Capricorn, he's already come here as a soul with gifts that have to do with being a business person, someone who shuts their emotions out because they want to just focus on work, but you're not supposed to live through your south node as much as your north node. So it's not a bad thing that he's a businessman. You know, he's got all this Capricorn stellium. How can he not be? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he is supposed to be learning lessons about love and family, and emotional connections to people in this lifetime with the North Node in Cancer. So what? Oh yeah, so he's got all this Earth sign energy. It's about success and achievement, no matter what. Especially Capricorn, it's about like it's symbol is a goat. So imagine like mountain goats, and how far they climb, so that they can get to their goal, and it doesn't matter what it takes. They're going to get there no matter how difficult. So yeah, that's how Capricorn energy acts, and it's an earth sign. Earth sign is about money and resources. Capricorn, once again, it's a corporation, so all of that stuff matches up for him. Okay, now he has a Venus and Saturn conjunction in Aquarius, and this is also, yeah, Venus could be love, but this also affects his business too, because look, Venus and Aquarius, so his interests are very Aquarius. Venus can rule your interests, things that you like, ruled by Venus, and they said that he is a big time science nerd, like he's always been totally into like science themed stuff, right? That's Venus and Aquarius all day. Now, Venus conjunct Saturn, though. Saturn anchors you down and restricts you. When it comes to love, this can mean that and marriage, it can mean it's delayed, like not until later in life will you actually find, quote unquote, the one that everybody asks about. Who is the one? Yeah, it may be later in life. Maybe this means that he could be into women who are older, or maybe they're mature in some way, or maybe they have a mature look to them. Venus and Saturn together. Maybe he's very much attracted to business women, women of prestige, women of some sort of high status with Venus conjunct Saturn. But Venus also rules money and the material, and how you manifest those things. And he has it in a conjunction with Saturn, the planet of big business. So what do you think that means for him? This is another point that adds to him being a hugely successful entrepreneur. His Venus doesn't go wild out there. It's anchored down, trying to just like enjoy herself. Venus and Aquarius alone is someone enjoying themselves within like groups of friends. Okay, but the Venus conjunct Saturn, sometimes it can mean like this person has trouble expressing their love feelings physically. He's probably the type that acts like he's allergic to affection, sad to say. But true for the Saturn ruled ones, because Saturn rules Aquarius. It also, yeah, Saturn rules Aquarius and Capricorn. So, those signs, it could be hard for them to kind of like let loose. You know what I mean? It's anchoring his Venus down. It's hard for them to show emotions. Saturnian people. So maybe he's not really the most emotionally romantic guy or affectionate guy. But from what I read, he actually was having an affair, which was one of the reasons for the divorce, and that there were leaked romantic text messages. So I'm like, where's the romance coming from with the Venus and Saturn conjunction, possibly in the 11th house? Maybe this rectified birth time is wrong, and maybe his Venus is in a more romantic, watery zone of his natal chart to make him do stuff like that. Yeah. But this is good for money and business. Technology is Aquarius, Saturn is, business. So this really makes sense. He could be a Capricorn moon. He could be a Sagittarius moon. Sagittarius moons are really good at being visionaries and seeing the future as being bright all the time, and seeing things as being possible when others think they're impossible. So that's a Sag moon. He may have that in his chart. The moon changed signs the day that he was born from Sagittarius to Capricorn. So if we are off by like 4 hours or more in his natal chart, he could be a Capricorn moon. But all these other planets in Cap, yeah, I just keep looking at them like, wow, it's very telling. Okay, now let's look at the divorce. What I have his wife's chart. I don't have her birth time, of course, but this is his wife's natal chart. She's in Aries, but she has a stellium of planets all lined up in Taurus. The only personal planet she has in Aries is the sun. The rest is all Taurus. So she is all this earth energy too. Her earth energy made a trine aspect to Jeff's earth stellium. So they both understood money and business pretty well. They probably were really good at building an empire together, which is why they were so successful financially with Amazon and whatever else he was doing. However, they unfortunately announced their divorce on January 9th of 2019, January 9th this year. And actually, what I would look at for divorces is like eclipses. Eclipses tell a lot about major life events. Okay, so January 5th, there was an eclipse at 15 degrees of Capricorn. As an Aries sun that lands in the solar 10th house, which can be your social status, which can mean marriage sometimes. Okay, and if he is indeed an Aries rising, same thing, that eclipse could have hit his 10th house. Yeah, that eclipse that we had earlier this year. And that was a that was a solar eclipse in Capricorn. We're going to have a lunar eclipse in Capricorn, 24 degrees of Capricorn, July 16th of 2019. And that's going to hit his sun and Mars. So I think his divorce stuff and everything, that's not over yet. It's not going to be over for a while because number one, the eclipse is. Number two, he's having a nodal return. You have a nodal return several times in your life. It's once every 19 years or so. Everybody has that. And what happens is this is the signs the eclipses are in. The nodes determine that. And I always say people can be eclipsed in or eclipsed out of your life when you've got this nodal return. So the eclipse cycle in Cancer and Capricorn actually started last summer in 2018. We had an eclipse in Cancer. So that means, let me see, what degree was that last year? It was 20 degrees of Cancer. Okay. 20 degrees of Cancer eclipse. Okay, well, I mean, it could have possibly hit his fourth house of home and family and rocked that part of his world. Maybe there were some struggles, within the home with him and his wife because of the infidelity, the alleged infidelity. And yeah, it was opposing his natal sun. Anything that opposes you could be like, something that affects you as well. So yeah, that eclipse last year definitely affected him. The eclipses this year in Capricorn and Cancer will affect him too, as well as the nodes as far as relationships. He's rumored to be dating a girlfriend, but that he was like talking to while he was still married. But with this eclipse stuff, even that relationship is not always safe. He may end up with someone else and someone else and someone else. Now, something interesting about the synastry between Jeff and his wife, I noticed he has Chiron at the 11th degree of Pisces. Chiron is, where you have a soft spot in life. You're very sensitive there and you've had repeated pain somehow, some way. But you can help to counsel and advise other people that go through the same thing because you've been through it. Okay, so he has Chiron at 11 degrees of Pisces, and they have this in the 12th house, which can be, someone who's quite the visionary. But yeah, 11 degrees of Pisces. Now look at this. This is his ex-wife Mackenzie's chart. Her north node is 11 degrees of Pisces. Yeah, her north node is 11 degrees of Pisces, his Chiron. So maybe a part of their karma and their destiny together was, some sort of pain. Like maybe she was a healer to him in some ways. Yeah, in some ways with that position of Chiron on his north node. Yeah. No, her north node, his Chiron on her north node. And also, Chiron is pain, unfortunately, and someone's Chiron on your north node, especially in dating situations or marriages or whatever, sometimes it can mean the person is going to be deceitful, and it's a part of your destiny to learn about that with their Chiron hitting your north node. Um yeah, so what else did I notice? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so with Jeff Bezos and his wife, um, she's an Aries sun. He's possibly an Aries rising, which works out pretty well in compatibility. Now he has, let's see, all this stuff in Taurus and including Venus, and no, she does, and he has Venus in Aquarius, which is a little cold and dry. And Venus in Taurus is very sensual. It wants the touch and the affection and all of that. So maybe that could have been an issue with them, to be honest. Maybe he was a little cold and dry towards her. And she's got all this earthy energy that wants all the cuddles and stuff. So that could have been an issue between them. And what else do we see in their chart? Well, if this rising sign is correct, his fifth house could be Leo, and fifth house is romantic dating relationships. And the eclipse cycle that was previous to 2019 and 2018, it was on the Leo Aquarius axis. So when there was an eclipse in Leo last year and maybe earlier this year too, maybe that could have been something that affected the relationship he has with his mistress or girlfriend, like opened it up. Eclipses open portals up within your life wherever it lands in your chart. So for him, it's in dating and romance. Like I said, he's got this here. Maybe he could be cold-hearted and stuff, but maybe the new girlfriend, maybe she lights him up in a different way to where he doesn't always feel like that, like so Saturnian around her, so aloof and distant, like a Aquarius. Maybe he feels warm and fuzzy feelings whenever somebody's planets land in your fifth house. That can be how you feel, very affectionate towards them, very playful energy. But yeah, there were eclipses here, so that could have brought that new relationship that made him feel like that. And unfortunately for her, that's also that's her solar fifth house. So it affected her in a fifth house way too. But we don't know. I didn't read up anything that said that she's been having an affair. It was only him. But that eclipse in Leo could have like opened up some doors in her mind that made her think about what she really wants out of like romance and love, what truly makes her heart happy. And that marriage, obviously, it wasn't doing that anymore. So, the eclipses here could have said it's time to go. The eclipses in Cancer, that's her solar fourth house. That's the family life. That's the home. That's the kids, which they had all of that. And that is about to drastically change. Your world's going to get rocked with eclipses. So an eclipse in her solar fourth house, yes, it still affects her, even though I don't have her birth time. But yeah, that's coming up. There was already that eclipse there last year in 2018 in the sign of Cancer. And then there's already been ones, in Leo too. So I just think maybe they were unhappy. Maybe they were just sticking it out. Let's see. Her Venus she has a Venus and Saturn conjunction too, which once again is really good for business and money, especially with it being in an earth sign, a money sign, which is Taurus. Maybe they were both kind of cold and calculated and just kind of, maybe they were together in a marriage and they actually did like each other, but also it could be that they saw it as like a good like business deal. Like maybe their marriage is more like on the friendship and business partner side, that type of vibe. Maybe it could be that, and then maybe this new girlfriend that he has, maybe she doesn't have a Venus and Saturn conjunction. Maybe she doesn't have anything restricting her Venus. And so she's able to express herself in ways that, bring more expressiveness out of him romantically. And maybe he really digs that, So yeah, his wife has also a Venus and Saturn conjunction, which is very interesting. So they both were able to stick it out for a long time. Venus and Saturn aspects will be the ride or die aspects. I'm telling you, Saturn anchors those planets down. Let me tell you. So it's anchoring her Venus down, anchoring his Venus down. So yeah, I believe they're still gonna get a divorce? Yes, I do. I think it could just be a little difficult because of the Venus Saturn thing. Like Venus wants to hold on when she's with Saturn. She wants to stick it out. She wants to be a trooper. She wants to be someone who works hard. So, and works hard for that relationship. So it looks like to me, they've probably been doing that for years and maybe still like underneath the surface, kind of unhappy and miserable. Unfortunately, Venus, Saturn stuff can do that. Okay, what else did I notice in there? I think I talked about the North Node and Chiron. Yeah, so I talked about that. But anyway, yeah, those are the most major things I see in his chart. If he really is an Aries rising, Taurus would be his second house, and Taurus is the sign of money and earned income, and so is the second house. So how did he become wealthy? Well, maybe it's because the ruler of it is in a conjunction with Saturn, which rules the 10th house, which is like corporations and businesses and stuff. So, this is here, Taurus energy, like how he earns his money. And then the ruler is up here in the 11th, which is the internet, which explains Amazon, and then conjunct Saturn, which is all about business and corporations and building something from scratch, little by little, slowly building it. And it also rules the sign of Capricorn, which is career. So he got lucky that his money and his career are literally hand in hand with each other. Because a lot of times people, they find their career, but they don't have the financial support or backing in order to keep going until they can make a living off of their talent or whatever. But he does, obviously. Okay, so what else was I going to talk about with him? Yeah, the announcement of the divorce or the separation came during the Cancer Capricorn season. So that affected his family life and his career. And that's going to continue. The eclipses are going to continue on this axis, you guys, until it's going to be through 2020. Excuse me. So 2020 is when it all starts changing. So yeah, eclipses are going to continue to rock his world. And we shall see what happens with that. But that's what I noticed in his chart, the most noticeable things to me. And then with his wife as well, she's got a lot of noticeable, I'm sorry, she's got like a lot of, stuff that I noticed that they have in common. But just also the Venus and Saturn thing is like, they're in signs that square each other on the zodiac wheel. So that could have also been an issue for them. Yeah, that could have been an issue for them, is like that whole thing, the fact that they're in like signs that square each other. So let's see, anything else? So yeah, that's what I see, you guys, for Jeff Bezos. Career-wise, one last thing, you guys. Career-wise, with this, he is doing that whole thing with that, what is it called? I wrote it down. Blue Origin, with like the spacecraft and stuff. He's going to continue on to work on that, and that's going to be something that's pretty big. Amazon as a corporation, we'd have to look at the chart of Amazon to see like what direction it's going to go, but they're going to continue he is going to continue to expand upon it. I'm pretty sure, with the eclipses happening in his 10th house. I actually worked for Amazon for a little while. And when I was working there last year, they were talking about they're going to have like these Amazon stores that are so like technologically advanced, and you walk into them and you can buy groceries, and they're teaming up with Whole Foods, and they have a test store already in, I want to say Seattle, in the US, and they're going to start opening up more of them. And it's like, so like technologically nerd, grocery store. So, that can be something that it shows with the eclipses in in his sign. If this really is his 10th house, that can show that. But eclipses in his sign, on his sun, on his Mars, I mean, in general, it's going to affect his personal life. And eclipses on your sun can also affect career too, if your career is a big part of your identity and who you are, So anyway, Amazon may go through some changes as he does, and like I said, the eclipses are going to continue in Capricorn throughout 2020. So anyway, you guys, that is what I see. Let me stop the screen sharing and see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's see here. Let me go back to the chat here. There's already 10 of them in Seattle. Oh, 10 of them, and 2 are in Seattle. Amazon those stores with the food are shut down. Really? You know what? I was wondering why. I heard about it last year when I worked for them, and they were saying that there was one that was going to open up, where I live, and I haven't seen or heard of it yet. So I'll have to look into that. Yeah. Have they? Yeah. That didn't last long. Yeah. If they closed already. You read it 3 days ago. Okay. Thank you. Best choice. I'm going to have to look into that. So yeah, let's go. I'll definitely check that out. But anyhow, okay, so that's it, you guys, for this week's Coffee Talk and Horoscope. Happy Cancer season, diving into those feels, those emotions and everything. This weekend is going to be super emotional. So, just look out for that because the moon will be in Pisces and also the sun in Cancer. But yeah, you work for Amazon too. And okay. Yeah. They have Amazon all over the place. But yeah, you guys. So thank you very much for tuning in and have a good weekend. Have a great week. And I will see you guys next time, and we'll talk about the eclipses that are coming up, or at least the first eclipse is coming up very soon, like the first week of July. So watch out for Mercury in shadow. Don't stop your life for it or anything, but be aware. Okay, be aware that there's miscommunications, there's a little more car accidents, potential for some stuff to mess up if you're not fully paying attention. Okay. So just keep that in mind. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Peace. Thanks for coming through.